Welcome back to the show. Bob here, episode 348. Today, we're going to be talking about live video. And so this is something that I've been doing a lot in our business. And really, I think that live video presents a really huge opportunity for all of you in your business. And here's the reason why I say this. When I look at the trends of social media over the last couple of years, it's been all about short form content, Reels, TikTok, stories. And it's not that there still isn't value in doing that. But what's interesting is I don't see a ton of people going live anymore, or at least I don't see people going live on their public social media. A lot of our clients, they go live in their customer groups and their team groups, but they're not going live on Instagram and they're not going live on their Facebook profile. I actually think this is a big missed opportunity. Going live in the beginning of this year, 2023, I made a commitment to start showing up again for our community and our audience and really serving. And I started going live every day. And the results that we've seen, the growth, the follower growth, the engagement growth in 60 days has been pretty astounding. And so I want to make the argument today that I think live is something you have to add to your content strategy. Because for me, when everybody is zigging, that's when I want to zag. Everybody's talking about TikTok and Reels and stories. And yes, we still do those things. When I look at a lot of our clients, and especially even some of my one-on-one coaching clients, people that are really successful, I just guided a couple coaching clients of mine that are crushing it on Instagram, built huge followings, over 100K. They're selling tons of products. And they're saying to me that they're starting to notice that it's slowing down their follower growth and their engagement growth. What I saw with these two is I said, well, you're not going live. Like, why are you not going live on Instagram? Why are you not hopping on Instagram once a week and just giving people a different experience than they're used to for you? Like, that could be a game changer for a lot of you. So today, I want to share with you three sources of content, because this is always the big question that comes up when I talk about going live. People always want to say, well, what do I talk about? Where do I find content? And I'm going to let you know this is so much easier than what you think. So I'm going to share with you three sources. And so I'm excited to be here. And so listen, it's funny. I'm filming, we film all our podcasts now. So if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see this video, but I'm filming all the podcast episodes now because we're going to start putting them back up on YouTube and we're going to repurpose. And I'm sharing this with you because I am just now realizing I've been batching today and I forgot to change my shirt. So this is now the third episode where I have the same black t-shirt on, which really shouldn't be much of a surprise to those of you that watch me on Instagram every morning, because you're probably like, does Bob own t-shirts that aren't black? But note to self, let's change the color of our t-shirt for the next video that I record. But anyway, let's dive into content here. So I'm going to give you three super simple and easy sources of content for your live videos. Now, before I get into the content, I want to let you know, I challenge you to go live on your public social media. And I don't care how long the videos are, and I don't even care what time of the day you do them. I just want you to do them. Make a commitment to do it once per week and use these three things for content sources. Here's the first one, is look at your past content. So what have you been doing? Have you been creating Reels? Have you been doing stories? Have you been doing written posts? Look at your best performing content, the content that you've created that have gotten the most engagement, and ask yourself, could I take that piece of content and could I turn that into a live, right? Maybe you've been giving some tips and some advice around the area of your products. Maybe you've been sharing a little bit about your personal growth journey with people. Look at some of the best performing posts that you've had and just ask yourself, how can I turn this into a live? And so it might be as simple as this. It might be as simple as just fleshing out the ideas just to include some more talking points so that it gives you a little bit of a longer piece of content. It could be you sharing some sort of a personal story. See, to me, lives are a great place for you to just show up and share stories. stories that you've been through, stories that your clients are going through. So what is there some sort of a story or an example that you could give tied to that piece of content? And so I bet you if you, and listen, you might say, well, Bob, none of my posts get a lot of great engagement. It doesn't matter. Like, the posts that you've made that you've been more proud of, that you thought were a better demonstration of how you want to show up, just turn those things into lives. It doesn't matter if you've already talked about it, because if it's something that's good and it's something that can help, people will appreciate the fact that they're hearing it from you again. So just look at your existing content. Here's the second thing. To me, this is an absolute gold mine when it comes to content. Look at your customer and your team Facebook groups. And so when we're looking at our customer and team Facebook groups, here are the things we're looking for. Number one, what are people struggling with? So in our customer groups, what are the questions that our clients or our potential customers are asking? What are the things they struggle with in terms of solving the problems related to our products? That is pure gold. And when we think about a live, here's why I love lives. Because you can do it totally in a conversational way. You could see a post in your group and it's somebody that's sharing a question that they're struggling with, and maybe you have an answer for them, or maybe the community gives an answer. And you could go live and just say, hey, listen, I had to hop on here. There was a post in one of our client groups from a customer of ours that was struggling with ABC. And it really made me think about how I used to struggle with that, or the story of somebody else that I helped. And here's some advice and here's some lessons I've learned that could maybe help you if you're dealing with the same thing. Right? So that's such an easy way for you to identify things, because if one person has the question, you can pretty much be sure lots of other people do. So get into those customer groups. Look at that. Look at the comments in the posts that get the most engagement. Because if people are liking and commenting, then that means that that's a topic that they want to talk about. So that could be a great topic for a live. In your team group, what are the common things that you hear people? What are they struggling with? What are the things that they need help with? Bring that stuff into your content. See, I think for a lot of you, you're really good when it comes to creating product-based content, but you're not good and you're barely doing any content related to your personal growth and personal transformation journey. And I think this is where lives can be a huge tool for you, because it could give, what if you did a live once a week? This is actually advice that I gave to one of my clients. So she's really good about doing makeup tutorials and she crushes it with reels, but it's really just this very scripted, edited kind of thing, her doing her makeup. And so I said to her name is Chelsea. I said, Chelsea, you've been so successful in your business. There's so much value you could offer these women that are following you beyond just teaching them how to do their makeup better. I said, what if you taught them how to feel beautiful, not from the outside in, but from the inside out? What if you shared some of the things that you've learned that have helped you become a better mother, a better person, more positive? Let's share more of that value. I said, you want to attract higher quality people to your business? You want to bring more value into your social media? This is what you do. And so why I love it is she could go live and she could choose to not even save it to her feed if she didn't want to, if she wants to keep her feed in a certain theme. But I said, once a week, I would love it if you did that. And so what we came up with together, she said, this makes sense to me. She goes, what if I just did my makeup? But instead of talking about the makeup and giving tips, I shared this stuff. And so it was just this, it's kind of this authentic, vulnerable way to get to know me better. And that's the thing about lives, is you'll build relationships and trust so much faster on a live video than you ever could on a story or a reel. So think about that. How could we bring just some of these things that we're dealing with every day in these two different groups? Here's the third source of content. This is so easy. Pay attention to the conversations that you have every day in your business. What are the conversations you have with customers? What are the conversations you have with consultants, right? If you've got a growing business, you're working with new customers every day. You're answering questions in DMs. You're hopping on Zooms with them. If you're recruiting and growing a team, you've got people reaching out to you all the time with questions. Just start raising, content creation is a skill. It's not something you're not born a good marketer. It's something that you work on. It's like a muscle. You'll build it up. It's really awareness. And so when I say conversations, let's think even outside of our business. See, for me, I'm always tuned into what are the conversations and what are the things that are happening with my kids. that could lend themselves to good stories to illustrate things that we teach, right? Like leadership lessons from my 5-year-old, which, is kind of a funny thing. But pay attention to conversations. And so here's what this might look like in a live. And I do this all the time. This is also why I love lives, because you can kind of conversationally talk about your business in a way where it doesn't feel like you're pushing it on people. So a lot of times what I'll do is with my, I'm doing one-on-one coaching again, and I have these high-level clients. And so, we're on these calls every couple of weeks. We're diving into their business. And every time I do a coaching call, there's always something that comes from it where I'm like, oh, that's such an important topic. So what I'll do is in my Instagram live the next morning, I will say, look, I was on a call with a client yesterday, and here's what she said, and here's what happened, and here's the advice that I gave. So all I'm doing is recounting the things that I'm already talking about one-on-one. Now, only that other person benefits from it. But when I turn it into content, when I share that experience, potentially thousands of people can benefit from it. And so, but it's also a great way for you to let people know that, yes, you do work with clients, you do work with other people, and you can also mention the specific ways that you help them and the transformations you create. So to me, those are 3 super simple sources of content: your own content, past stuff, your customer and team groups, and your conversations you have every day. And if you just start paying attention, what I do is I use Trello. So I've got Trello right on my phone here. And when something comes to mind, I say, ooh, I got to put that into Trello. And so in my Trello board, I have a column for podcast. I have a column for Instagram Live, and I have a column for a Friday email series that we send out. And so what I do is, if I usually start with everything in the live category, because I'm doing those every day. And then anytime I'm feeling like I don't know what to talk about, I just pull up Trello and I've got all these different cards with these ideas. And then when I go live on one, I take that and I move it over to the podcast. And so this is what's happening right now. This is a live that I did several weeks ago that I fleshed out a little bit more for you here on the podcast. And here I am recording it. And so the lesson in that is, look, when you've got good stuff that can help people, it's okay to talk about it more than once. I would even say if you're not talking about the things you're teaching more than once, you shouldn't even teach it in the first place. So think about that. How can you use that? But more than anything, I want to challenge you to go live. Get over your fear. Get over the uncertainty. That fear is a sign that this is something you should be doing in your business. So hope you got some value out of today's episode. As always, I love and appreciate you all for being here. I'll see you soon on the next episode.